because outside of like, and the thing is, the guys who they have established as stars, like your Cody's, your MJFs, the Bucks, Omega. Like, I think the only person that's kind of like who's set aside, who's put who's kind of up here, like Don Callis actually used it in the promo too, which makes you. Like, Kenny Omega's probably the only guy that they have in the company right now. Like, they're the main, like, their best star, in my opinion. Like, because Omega's up here, and like everybody else has been like, just rolling the wheels, getting the wheels.
I agree.
And like outside, like the Bucks, what have the Bucks done ever since they won the tag title? Down there feuding with Penta, or not Penta, they're with Ray Phoenix and Pac.
I think that's just a placeholder for eventually them going against the Good Brothers. But like you said, like Kenny Omega's here. Like I can only think of like two guys that's probably risen up since AEW started, and that's probably what's that boy's name? Orange Cassidy and damn Darby Allin.
I can give you another one. Ooh, Jungle Boy.
Yeah, Jungle Boy. Well, Jungle Boy's still stuck in that like tag team. He's still still attached to Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt. But he has shined a lot.
Been shining.
Like that feud that he had, that small feud that he had with MJF, that was actually great. I was like, hell, I want to see more of that. And I was listening to somewhere, I think it was Busted Open saying that AEW is beginning to be a lot like TNA, where they're bringing in a lot of veterans from WWE, and your stars are taking a cut for that and stuff. Like they're not gonna get the progression that they need to be as stars and stuff, because you're gonna they got to start slowing down on signing guys and build up your homegrown, and don't make that mistake that TNA did with bringing in all these damn veteran guys, and then all your homegrown guys is leaving to go elsewhere.
They end up going to WWE.
Yeah.
All right, let's see comments. Draylen says Cody had a great feud with Shaq, basically because Jade mentioned his name in the promo and feuded with Penta. Because Penta hurt his feelings with the translator. And then Draylen says, Los Boricuas was doomed from the start. Who in the hell has Savio Vega as the leader of a faction? That's your point. I think the best thing that
LAX was better.
I'm saying the best thing Savio Vega did in WWE was get his ass whooped by Farouk.
Damn, I'm pretty sure he gonna disagree with that.
He was a decent worker. I say he just he had a good he had a good feud with Stone Cold. Well, the Ringmaster. He had a great feud with the Ringmaster, Steve Austin. He had a good feud with Owen Hart.
That's the thing that gets lost a lot too is back during the Attitude Era, like top stars were actually feuding with like mid card guys, and that gets lost a lot of times. Like you saying, Stone Cold feuded with Savio Vega, and a lot of people damn forget about that shit. They just tend to think, oh, Stone Cold always feuded with The Rock or feuded with Triple H. And that's not true. He feuded with other guys. Like, hell, I remember back in the day, you remember them damn 1-800-COLLECT commercials? I remember they had Stone Cold and damn D'Lo Brown in that shit. I'm like, the guys had star power back then and stuff.
Yeah,
even like the Lord guy, had some star power to him.
The problem is everything is so top heavy. Like everybody wants to worry about your top guy, But the thing is, I'm like, at the same time, like you gotta with AEW, a lot of people keep making this excuse. Oh, they're only a year in. I'm like, that's I say they've had that year. That means you've had time. A year is more than enough time to iron out some of the kinks. Yeah. But I'm like, outside of like they haven't built any like stars outside of like the people like. Cody Rhodes, we can't say Cody. Cody Rhodes don't count because Cody Rhodes is already established in WWE. The Bucks and Kenny Omega were established in Japan. Yeah. And then,
like the stars that they've brought in since AEW has been established, like you said, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus was hot at one moment. Then they started having him lose. I think he lost their first match to Wardlow, and then I think he lost also to Jake Hager. And so, like, I think it sort of lost a little mystique on him, so he sort of got bumped down a little bit. But Jungle Boy's still shining and still bringing a lot of eyes to the trio.
I think they need to let him bring. I think you just let Jungle Express be Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt, and hell, put Sean Dean in that shit. He ain't doing that. All right, I'm just saying,
they're gonna be like, man, cancel AEW. You got a black man in a damn group. With a damn dinosaur and a damn little person.
Have
That's some of this shit.
But nah, that's the thing though. Like AEW don't have no like. There's nobody in AEW I can say that's on the top level outside FTR. I'm not gonna say everybody. I'm not trying to say WWE what I'm trying to say is
WWE has improved on upping their stars and stuff. Like hell, a few years ago, did you think Drew McIntyre was gonna damn beat Brock Lesnar for the WWE title? So they have progressed. They're actually giving the fans what they want now. Somewhat.
Drella says Savio Vega was the reason Mabel won King of the Ring. You had to bring that up, huh? I'll never forget that. Quick question: whenever Ahmed Johnson used to come out and beat up the nation, who was the first dude to get his ass whooped? I want to say
probably
it was either D'Lo or
Kama.
It was either D'Lo or probably what's the dude? It was just Wolfie D and
all them
two white dudes.
When it was the original Nation of Domination, it was like Wolfie D, maybe D'Lo, and some of the extras. Man, you remember that badass chick they used to have in the Nation too? Go back and look at
I gotta find this now. Shit.
Go back and look at the Royal Rumble. I think '96 or '97. Because they did a promo with the Nation. And they had all of them, Wolfie D and the two white guys, and then they had D'Lo, and they had some other extras, and then they had a black female. She wasn't a wrestler, obviously, but she was just there. I was like, damn. I'm like, where did she come from? I want to call her.
Shit, I gotta find this now. But yeah, that was my thing with AEW too, and a lot of people, and that's the thing, when you talk about issues that you have with AEW in terms of booking and how they present their presentation. People always consider any criticism of AEW is you're a WWE mark. And it's bro, I will criticize, and that's the thing. I'm you can be in you can be in the middle. I criticize WWE just as much as I criticize AEW.
Exactly.
And I said it's not. And that's the thing. It's being an objective fan nowadays is kind of a lost art now. I feel because like I said. You can't if AEW does it and it has to be as perfect or you're WWE mark if you think otherwise.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, back in the day when we was I'm pretty sure when you were growing up too, you never heard of a fan being oh, I'm all WWE or I'm all WCW or I'm all in with ECW. It was if you're a wrestling fan, you just love wrestling. And hell, if WCW did something wrong, you called them out on it. WWE did something wrong, you called them out on it. ECW called them out. It was just the love of wrestling and stuff. Now everybody's Team AEW or Team WWE. If you ain't with one year, you're with the other. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like that. You just gotta be loyal wrestling fans. You can like AEW.
So I'm loyal to professional wrestling. I say regardless, because back in the '90s, which to me, the '90s to me is probably the best era. Actually, I know you probably. You grew up in the '80s. I know you probably think the '80s, but the '90s to me would probably be one of the better era. To me, the best era of wrestling, just because.
I would say this, when I look back at the '80s and '90s wrestling, I think that's probably the best time because wrestlers had star power then, and it was all about the characters. The athleticism and stuff. It wasn't about a move. It wasn't about catchphrases. It wasn't about damn gestures that you come off as, I guess, being cool or whatever like they do nowadays. When you watch wrestling, I heard the expression back here at the on Ric Flair's 30 for 30. There's people watch NWA wrestling because they expected a bar fight when they went to them wrestling shows, and I can agree with that and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then you got WWF, who at the time was a little cartoonish, but people still watch wrestling. Whether it was WWE, NWA, WCW, whatever. You just love wrestling and you watched it. I'm more inclined to watch WCW because of the damn fights and stuff over WWE. But nowadays it's just moves and gestures and catchphrases.
It's basically and it's funny, and I say this, and I know a lot of people gonna hate me for this one, but Jim Cornette is actually right about it.
He does a lot
of his. If you listen to a lot of Jim Cornette's criticism of AEW, he is 100% correct.
What it is he states a lot of unpopular opinions and people don't like it. And I'm like, some of the shit, like, I listen to his, his thing on YouTube, and a lot of what he says is actually right. Like, people are into the moves now. Like, he was talking about, like, I ain't trying to, say what he said is true, but, like, he was talking about the Me Too movement and the speaking out. He was like, back in the 80s and 90s, wrestlers were rock stars. Like, women hung out after shows to hook up with wrestlers back in the day. And now what you got is you got a bunch of younger guys going in there into like the NXT arena or even AEW, and they're saying fight forever. He's like, and the girls are being brought there by their boyfriends, and they're just like drugged there basically, just like, hey.
Yeah, let's just be fair.
And they're not into it.
Let's just be fair. Most wrestling fans are cucks.
Yeah.
I'm not meaning. I don't mean that in a bad way, but most wrestling fans are cucks. Hey, most wrestling fans would probably won't like to see like a Joey Ryan fuck their girlfriend in front of him. Like, I'm just calling it how I see it. Like, oh my God, my girlfriend got fucked by Joey Ryan. I'm a super.
I've seen it before too, man. I've seen it before, like in wrestling shows. Like, I see like guys bring their girlfriends there, and the girlfriend's like, shit, she's on the phone, but she's got like, her Bullet Club shirt on, or a damn, wrestler that her boyfriend likes. She's sitting there on the phone or whatever, and not really into it. I've seen it in like recent shows, like WWE independent shows. I've seen it, and like what Jim Cornette was saying, he's like, hell, there was like ring rats, girls who hung out after the show or followed the wrestlers to a bar or club just for the chance to hook up with one of these guys.
The thing is, too, the thing is, then was another thing that Cornette says is a lot of these guys there, back then, it just wrestling looked like an actual fight.
Yeah,
it looked like
it looks choreographed now.
The thing was like wrestling looked like it looked like, let's say, like a Dusty. You see like Dusty Rhodes versus Ric Flair. Like if you look at the match, you like, damn, like
even with a little showboating in there, it still looked like a legit fight. Like now it's like shit's so choreographed. Like what Jim Ross was saying about the guys in AEW. He's like, why the hell are y'all getting together to catch one guy coming off the top rope? And like I sit back and NXT is guilty of this too. Like I see stuff and that's like, okay, he about to go do this shit right here. He got the guy on the outside. He gonna do the dive and then they're gonna go to commercial break. It's very predictable and choreographed.
I'm about to say it. I know whenever you get into the news stuff, and if you have the one thing I'm thinking of, I'll probably get more into it. Oh, so you got more comments. Draylon said, Hangman Page should be bigger in matches. Before the pandemic, he was the most over babyface.
Yeah.
I agree. He was the guy who they should have made like one of the top guys. Like, but the thing is, I'm like outside of, because remember when AEW had that, he was the guy who went against Jericho to become the first AEW World Champion.
Exactly.
And what has he done since? Like he's literally like the gatekeeper of job. He's a gatekeeper to basically of whoever.
He doesn't really have like a big feud since then. Like even in singles. Like,
he lost a lot of
the way I see it, like right now, he should probably be like pushed up to like the #1 contender to Kenny Omega's title because of the history there with those two guys. But then they put him with the Dark Order, which I'm not saying the Dark Order is bad, but what does that have to do with him? Like, I know they want him or whatever. Are they trying to recruit him to be the next exalted one, to be the leader of the Dark Order, or what?
I think what they could do with him, and I think it would make sense, and I think this would elevate Hangman in a big way. Is if it would also elevate the Dark Order too. If they just had them feud with have Hangman feud with MJF. Yeah. I think both of them could like that would elevate both.
In fact, didn't MJF beat him for that Dynamite ring?
I believe he did.
Yeah.
Cause he beat him with the double cross. Cause that's when he was feuding with Cody and hit him with the double cross.
Yeah.
Then Draylon said, "I forgot about JC Ice and Wolfie D. And they rap. Hey, Wolfie D and JC Ice rap better than the Acclaimed.
Hold on, they rap better than ICP.
Of course. No, a dead possum rap better than ICP. And then Draylon says, the only knock I got on AEW is that they got too much silly stuff going on. They have more storylines for you to get. I agree 100% with that.
Like, they got that ranking system. I'm like, why the hell y'all got the ranking system? Like, the #1 guy in each ranking is not the #1 contender to the titles. You're just giving out title matches to whoever you feel like